What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. In here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you this morning?
Light the beam, 5 star. Did you see that? It's our first time on
Yeah,
national TV in like, I don't know how long, 2-3 years,
yeah,
like
yeah.
2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was excited for the game, right?
Right.
I went to bed in the third quarter. That's how bad we were smashing them. Usually when I
Yeah.
go to bed because of a Kings game, it's because we're down by 30. We're up by 30-something points against the Brooklyn Nets on national TV. I couldn't be happier about the Kings' performance, but let's see how they do tonight because I'm worried there might be a little bit of a letdown. I mean, that's almost like a playoff win for our team. So
Do you
be
think they
interesting.
do you think they win though? We'll talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll
We got
talk
it on the
about that
list.
one. All
We'll
right.
talk about because it's very limited action today. Man, I couldn't be more excited. We got all these college basketball tournaments kicked off. I'm feeling as happy like it's Christmas because now I can roll over in the morning and get on the Myrtle Beach tournament, and I was able to hit first half on Penn State this morning, so I already got some bank early in the morning. Nothing better than waking up the money, man. So it's a good time. We got college basketball going. It's the holidays coming up. A lot of great stuff happening right now in sports, man. Let's get to the past, present, and future.
All right, let's start with the past. The Eagles suffered their first loss. Hey, wouldn't have been surprised to see those Commanders cover that 11-point spread the same way the Texans did on primetime the week before. But I was shocked that they got the full straight out win. I
Yeah,
didn't really have many eyes on that game. Monday night we had a lot of NBA action. So I'm paying attention to that and I'm thinking this game's gonna be blood. It's not worth it. I'm checking the score. I go, oh, Commander's going to cover. Okay.
yeah,
Checking it again. I need to watch this. So the Eagles suffer their first loss. What do you make of that team? When I do power rankings with my guy Tyler. You met Tyler. We didn't
yes,
really downgrade the Eagles that much for the loss. You can't stay up for 17 games. It was a division game, and these things happen. We didn't necessarily downgrade the Eagles, and we had already upgraded the Commanders with Heineke.
yeah,
So I didn't really do much off that game, but I thought it was an interesting game, and it's a reason why the NFL is fun to see a
yeah.
big upset like that on Monday night. What did you think?
I think that Washington played really hard for Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera, God bless his soul, lost his mother um, this past week, and the team really rallied around it. They gave him the game ball afterwards, and you know Rivera's really a team coach, player coach, excuse me, and it's just a great thing for them to get that win for him. As someone who's lost their mother before, I know how that feels, and it's one of the loneliest feelings in the world. So the team stepped up for him, they played for him. He was in tears, man, after the game. So that was a moving moment for me seeing that. Getting to the game aspect, Taylor Heineke isn't that good. Um,
But the
they
team
ran,
plays for him, which is why we upgraded
yeah,
him.
yeah,
Right? Like
yeah,
on a video
yeah,
game rating, you would give Wentz higher ratings,
right.
but this team is playing for Heineke, which is
He
why we
has
upgraded the
moxie.
Commanders.
He
Yeah.
definitely has moxie. But uh, Brian Robinson was big in that game. Brian Robinson was. They couldn't even bring him down the first half. The Eagles did a much better job in the second half, but the first half he was just moving the power, playing with so much will and determination. Kind of the things that got him through um, the offseason shooting that happened to him that could have ended his career, and he came back from. But yeah, I think Washington might even come back to earth this week. That's the book saying because they have them only laying 3.5 at the Texans. I would not be surprised if the Texans upset them this week after all this hoopla for winning this game. Taylor Heineke all on the plane. Did you see the plane that the Commanders ride on? They're like me
No.
and you. They're on like Southwest or something. All of the teams when they show Minnesota celebrating on their private jet when they put all the
Yeah.
chains on Kirk Cousins. And Taylor Heineke sitting his knees. He has no leg space in the front of him, and they put the chains around him. He's celebrating. So, hey man, Dan Snyder, you making all that money over in Washington. You can't get those guys a private plane. Come on, man. We got to put you on kick the damn extra point. But great job by the Commanders. You can't be perfect. Eagles, once again, the 1972 Miami Dolphins pop champagne, and they'll probably be doing it for a long time because in this new time, especially, it's going to be very difficult for a team to go undefeated.
The pick you gave us on Monday, easy cash, right? I think let's see, I'm trying. So I didn't watch the game. I checked the score. I think it was like 35-8 or something.
Yeah,
Like, we're looking pretty good, right? And I think
right.
we laid 20. I think I got 20 and a half because I was in late to the party. But
Yeah,
they won by 30 something points. And
yeah.
I've heard arguments that Houston might be the best team in the nation this season. What are your thoughts on that?
You can book them for the Final Four. I'm telling you, you can book the Cougars into the Final Four because the kid that they added, Walker, just put them over the top. They already were a really good team. You saw what type of noise the Cougars made last year in the tournament. Remember, we rode them all the
Yeah.
way to the Final Four, uh, beating top competition left and right. They kept defeating all of the big names in college basketball, and it's because it all starts first and foremost with a great head coach. Kelvin Sampson is an NBA coach coaching college basketball, and he gets those guys to turn up on the defensive end like they're professionals. And what he implemented in was that now they play great D and they shoot the three at a high percentage. And when you're doing that, you're gonna have a lot of blowouts. It's kind of like the Warriors formula when they were winning and covering every night, and that's what the Cougars doing. They already were good. Like I said last year, those were backups. The only starter that was really left in the backcourt was Sheed. Now all of the guys that got hurt last year, like Mark and Marcus Sasser, are back. So now they're loaded in the backcourt, and then they add maybe a lot of people say the top recruit coming out of high school from Florida and Walker, and he's been unbelievable, man. He's lived up to the billing, and I expect big things from Houston. I think we won this game. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have the score in front of me. It might have been like 85 to 48 or something, or
Yeah, it
43.
was the easy cover. I
Yeah.
loved it. Yeah.
Right now, guys, the Cougars are just like the Astros were. They're auto bets. Take them every night. I don't care what the line is.
All right, let's talk about Kentucky versus Michigan State. I'll be honest, I don't get a chance to watch a lot of college ball. I bet the plays you give me, but usually because it competes directly with the NBA,
Right.
I don't see a lot of it. So I didn't see any of this. Was it a good game?
Definitely a good game. We were able to pull out another one, man. We nailed it. The number was right on what we said it would be. Remember, they hadn't released the spread yet, but it was ended up being a gimme with the 7. They even gave them an extra point because in my numbers they should have been getting about 5. And Michigan State covered easy and won the game money line, double overtime. Just a great battle between the two teams. Neither team wanted to, submit. Both teams were just playing their butts off. Two great programs, two great coaches, but as I told you, Calipari has to let his talent mend together more. They actually did a really good job because Michigan State, in my opinion, should have won the game in regulation, but Kentucky kept fighting with a bunch of young kids. But they did get back Player of the Year, Oscar Shewibwe, and this was his first game playing. He looked like he hasn't missed a beat. He went for 22 points. He was the John Wooden winner last year. So I expect big things as the year goes by. Kentucky's going to be there because they got so much talent over there. It's ridiculous. They're like 10 deep with all, diaper dandies and outstanding freshmen and underclassmen. So they'll be there as they, get into conference play, get used to playing with each other more. They do have a veteran point guard, but Michigan State is just hard nosed. They're the same team they've always been. Both these teams will be around in March at the end of the year. But we cast another one with Michigan State.
Yeah, great pick there. Definitely appreciate that. And the listeners do too. Duke played Kansas. What were your takeaways from I don't know, it would argue that was the biggest game of the season so far?
Now, I'd say one of them because now what I like about college basketball, unlike college football, they have a lot of marquee matchups as soon as the year kicks off. These
Right.
coaches take no time and going and putting these guys out there and playing the best against the best, so that by the end of the year they're a better team. And I like that. Gonzaga got smoked last night in Texas, man.
Yeah,
Texas
that was
looks really good, but I think I'm gonna say that the game of the year probably early was maybe. Yeah, probably. I'd probably say Duke and Kansas because nobody ranked Michigan State. So Gonzaga and Michigan State, even though it was a great game, it wasn't as highly pushed and highly marketed as I'm sure Kansas and Duke are the good old school blue bloods of the sport. But we were right on the money on this one as well. I told you it didn't even matter that Bill Self wouldn't be on the sideline. He'd have his assistants ready and prepared. And the main thing with this game, you have the same exact situation that we spoke about on the previous game. You got Duke. Duke, since Coach K, he transitioned before he left and set the program up now where we're about getting you to the NBA. He picked, and kudos to Coach K for doing that. He saw that Kentucky was running away with things for a while as far as in recruiting, and to catch up, he was like, "Hey, man, I can't continue to do this Christian Laettner, 4 year guy. I got to start going to get some of these guys and send them to the NBA." And he kind of started. I think Kyrie Irving actually was the first guy who really went there and did a one and done. And Coach K actually was on the radio this morning on the Dan Patrick show this morning, talk about how close him and Kyrie still are, and he was really taking up for Kyrie. So kudos to Coach K for not going with just everything that everyone says, being able to relate to the person. But anyway, he switched everything up now where Duke is just like Kentucky. They have a bunch of young guys, and those young guys take a while to get used to playing with each other. And they're facing a Kansas team with 3 or 4 veterans on that team, and especially Jalen Wilson, who's a lottery pick. He's going to be a pretty good NBA player. I see him as a 3 and D guy. Um, Plays very physical, very sharp, and another kid who really is competitive. So we were on the right side on that one. Kansas pretty much led the game from wire to wire. Duke made a couple pushes, but as we said, it'd be a pick 'em, and it ended up being Kansas +1, so we were able to even get a +105 on that. So it's always good when you can say the juice.
All right. Love that one too. So it's been a great start to the college basketball season. We're pretty excited here at Wagering World. Let's talk some college football. We had some MAC. We split. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. The
Yeah.
first, and you know what's funny? Neither of them really were in question, right?
Yeah.
I knew Ohio
No.
was going to cover by halftime, and since we were laying such a big spread with Toledo, I said, okay,
Oh,
we're not going to get that either. I almost texted you and said, hey, should we jump in live? But I had some eyes on it, and it just didn't
yeah.
feel like this team. Uh,
Uh,
I don't know what
They
happened to
screwed
them.
us. They screwed us. They didn't play. The starting quarterback, DeQuan Finn, did not play for Toledo. You
Oh,
remember
okay.
I told you I had some
Okay.
uh, inside information about he's going to Ohio State next year. It's pretty much a done deal unless I guess a higher bidder comes. But his family wants to get him in a better position, obviously to show his talents, so he can make it to the NFL. And I don't think they feel like Toledo is the place for them. And I don't think the Toledo coach is liking that too much because Finn is healthy and he was a late scratch for no reason right before kickoff. And that's the only reason we lost that game because if Finn plays, they would have blew Bowling Green out. Bowling Green played a little bit over their head. They had a receiver, number one. I don't know where this guy was at a couple weeks ago when I took Bowling Green, but he showed up. Dude, he showed up. He was unstoppable. He was out there looking like Jerry Rice, man. I couldn't believe the plays he was making out there in the snow. So kudos to Bowling Green for coming to play. They do have a lot of big, strong, fast athletes. I've noticed that about them. And their quarterback McDonald played really good in the snow. We were dead to the water with Toledo simply because Gleason, the backup, hadn't got any snaps. He isn't that bad, but he hadn't got any snaps all week because he gets told he's going to start 5 minutes before the game. So I don't know what's going on. Well, I do know what's going on, but I don't think they're going to publicly say it. They're going to keep acting like it's an injury. But I don't know if we're going to see Finn the rest of the season. Honestly, he may sit out until he transfers, or the coach might be so upset with him knowing that he's transferring that he's not going to let him play. But we'll watch for that in the coming weeks. And on the other game, just as we told you, Ohio, we end up losing our quarterback on that one. Hopefully the kid's okay. These quarterbacks have been going down. Yesterday, we lost 2 more starters. Kent State's quarterback went down as well, but Ohio's fabulous starter, Curtis Rourke, man, he went down. And luckily for us, that we already, had won the game and had pretty much got ahead so much in the first half that it was difficult. Um, for Ball State to fight back in that game. They just didn't have the offense or passing game. And then for them, their star running back still got hurt. He was injured. I think he got a concussion. Someone slammed him and he landed on his head. But we were able to still win Ohio's game. The backup came in and did a good job and kept the lead for us, and we covered. So we'll take that split because, as you know, we always talk about with these games, you have, if you don't watch them, you don't know if it was a bad beat, a bad bit, or a bad break. And in this one, it was just a bad break. It was a bad break. So we lost the quarterback during the game, and he was the star quarterback.
All right. Well, if you're not tuning into the wager and vote for these winners, I don't know what you're doing. Of
Yeah.
course, you gave out the Cougars, and I gave out Jaden Ivey. And hey,
Yep.
it wasn't sweat free. He got off to a slow start, right? I was a little
Yeah.
worried, but it's kind of like we outlined here in the preview, the idea that they got no one else to go to. So even though he
Right.
had a slow start, right? Normally you might say, okay, we'll funnel the ball away from him, but they have no other options. So he
Right.
just kept firing and he kept chucking. I think we got over 17 and a half. I think he ended up somewhere like 23. So once again, I felt like it was a good pick, and I'm not going to give it out necessarily today, although I'm going to look at it right now. I think as long as Cade's out, we got to continue to hammer this prop until it gets to about 21
Yeah.
because they have no other options. What are you going to do? Have Bojan Bogdanovic try and create off the dribble? This
That's
team is
not
so
smart.
Cade dependent, right?
Yeah.
It's just been a rough spot there for the Detroit Pistons. But the rough spot for the Detroit Pistons turned into a good spot for us as we cash another ticket. Let's go
Another
ahead.
one.
We keep winning. Let's move into the present now. We have a lot of fun stuff going on. Tennessee at Green Bay tonight. I like the Titans. I just do. We talk
Really?
about we talk about lit down spots, and I think that the Packers were fortunate to win that game. Very fortunate to win the game against Dallas. That there was some mistakes by McCarthy, not a surprise there. And it had the emotion, right, with the Packers going against their old coach. Now I don't know how many of the other players were there, but the players that are new still know that this game means a lot to Rodgers. So I'm sure the preparation was on point this week, and I wonder how they respond to the win. Now, obviously, they have a great opportunity to build some momentum, but we're going against a Tennessee team that simply doesn't make mistakes. I don't have the statistics, but just off eye test, they missed the fewest tackles in the league. They're the most
Yes.
sound fundamental tacklers. So I know that doesn't show. I don't know how that shows up in PFF scores and DVOAs, but you just watch, and this team doesn't miss tackles. And I think that's going to be huge going against the Green Bay team that really is going to need to get the running attack going. And if there's anything that I think Vrabel knows how to do, is to shut down the run. On the other side, this Packers defense has struggled against the run. Even if Henry's not 100%, I still believe that Tennessee is going to be able to establish that run. Also, looking at the under, because why would you not play an under here on these Thursday night games? But I think both teams are going to run the ball. But you were surprised when I said Tennessee. Are you looking for Green Bay to continue this momentum?
Yeah, I got to push back. We rarely disagree about these games, but this is one of them. I see it completely the opposite. I almost feel like Vrabel's going to punt on this game. He has a lot of injuries. Some guys that are not playing that could have played if it was actually a playoff game. So it's a short week. It's a Thursday. I almost feel like with the division that Vrabel's in, he's almost looking at this like a bye week. Like this is a chance for my guys to get healthy for the final push at the end of the season. They're traveling, during the middle of the week to Green Bay of all places. That's not a place you want to go to on a short week. Um, I know that the Titans are very strong against the run, but I think this is the Aaron Rodgers game. I think we see a little more A-Rod. I think they use the tight end some in this game. Tennessee is not good against the tight end. I think they go to the War or some instead of worrying about hitting the outside. And I think that they're still able to run the ball, but in different manners. Maybe some swing passes instead to the running backs and a couple of little screens to the wide receivers. Other in other terms, just a long handoff, but they're still running plays. I think they get outside the box to run the ball. I don't think that they stay. They understand that if they get inside the box with Titans, they don't want to fight the Titans in the elevator. I think that LaFleur is really good at spacing, and I think that the Green Bay Packers are ready to play tonight. They need this game a lot more than the Titans do. And I just feel like with all the people that's sitting out, I don't think that the Titans are going to have the manpower. It's going to be really cold. Um, and who wants to be out there on a Thursday night when Vrabel, you know what type of coach he is? He's the type of coach who's telling the guys that, hey, after this, we're going to drink some beer. We're going to go home. We're going to relax until next week's game. You guys get healthy. So I think that the Titans are not going to be all in on this one, man. I don't think we're going to see a strong effort from them. And I think that it continues the thing with the home team having a big advantage on Thursday night football. Like I said, the Titans are terrible against the pass, so I think this is a game where we see a little more Aaron Rodgers, vintage Aaron Rodgers.
All right, we'll see how that one turns out. Might be a fun game though. I think it's the one I've looked forward to most in the last 4
Can't wait to
weeks.
watch it. I hope it gets a
Yeah,
little snow. It's gonna be really cold. I hope we see a couple of snowflakes. Like I know you
yeah,
saw those MAC games. Those MAC games, man, they were out there in blizzards playing last night in Central
yeah.
Michigan. Yeah.
All right, we'll see how that one turns out. Let's talk some college. SMU at Tulane. Is that tonight?
Yes, that's tonight. But what I'm gonna do is we're gonna put that one in the ball and parlay so we can go on and
Okay.
go to the next one and we'll come back to it. That's gonna be my play for the ball and parlay tonight.
Sounds good. I'll get ready. I'll cue that one up. Let's talk about the Nets heading to the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah, you know what? I haven't got involved in this game yet. I ran my projections. I wasn't surprised that they told me to pick the Blazers. Still not sure exactly what to do. I'm going to think this one over. I don't think the line's going to move too much.
Hmm.
Um, because we're waiting on this news with Yusuf Nurkic and Justice Winslow. I see Keon Johnson's on here as well, but whatever. But Justice Winslow actually is underrated. Has meant a lot to this team. He gives them a
Yeah.
good forward and makes this team more versatile. And he's been pretty good on the defensive end. And we know that Nurkic also provides some rim protection against the Nets. And we can see these guys getting to the rim if he's not in there. So until this gives me a little bit more time to go over this, I won't be really upset if I'd end up not getting involved. I'm fine
Yeah.
staying away from this game.
Yeah.
But everything to me points to Portland here. Portland's playing well.
Yeah.
And we know the Nets have had problems. And then, of course, KD comes out. And I don't really know where I stand on KD. But one thing I'll say is that he's honest. And he
Yeah.
almost called out his teammates. He says, well look at the starting five. Like, we're going to win with this. Interesting to see how that will go over in the locker room. He said a lot of other positive stuff in the interview, but of course that's what of course got taken away and put on social media, and maybe that's what the teammates take away from it as well. So a lot of turmoil right now in Brooklyn, and I don't know which way it's going to go personally, and that's kind of one of the weird hard parts about handicapping the NBA. Without an insider, we don't really know how the locker room is feeling.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This team has really had problems on the defensive end, and Portland's got a lot of different options to score. I lean towards the Blazers. I haven't got involved yet. I'm going to wait for the news to shake out. I'll talk to the guys on the NBA rundown a little bit later, see what they think, and then maybe get involved. But I have no problem staying on the sideline for this one. What do you think of KD and the Nets? And have you been following the Portland Trailblazers? Because they're doing really well so far this year.
Yeah, I have. Chauncey Billups is really good. Anthony Simons has really stepped up, as you talked about in a previous show about he made it where they were able to get C.J. McCollum
Yeah,
to the
without
off
a
the
without
roster
a
and to the
miss. Yeah,
and they were able to get younger while with still being pretty much the same team when Dame's there. And that's the
yeah.
key
And
to it.
then
They're
they
pretty much
added
the
Josh
same
Hart.
team.
And
Add Josh
yeah,
Hart.
so and he's been huge
Add
because
add the kid Shaden Sharp, like you said,
yeah,
he's gonna be a star, so they got him and soon he'll be in that starting lineup within the next year or so, as the
yeah,
as the small forward, I think. But I like the Blazers. The Bucks are killing people right now with the stardom. That's what NBA they're killing them with stardom, man. They put these short numbers out here tricking everybody. Last night I was all over Phoenix, cashed a big one
yeah.
because I knew they were going to smash the Warriors. No one wants to believe what they see with their eyes. They just want to go about what these people have done in the past and what these players have done in the past. KD is telling you, for one, we know KD isn't the guy that can carry a team even when he was at his best. That's why he ended up having to go to Golden State. He just doesn't have that type of game. He's the type of player that, yes, he's going to give a lot better effort on defense now than he used to, but he's a scorer. He's a scorer. He does not make the team better. He can't. He's not like LeBron was. He's not a Swiss Army knife. He needs players around him. He's one of those great pieces. He's the ultimate piece, like Klay Thompson, that could fit with any team. That's how good KD is, but he doesn't make them better as far as making the other players have opportunities to score, in my opinion. And I just really think that he's in a bad situation. He made a bad mistake, man. He fouled Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie, you can say what you want to say about Kyrie. He's a great player, but we all know whether you agree with his politics and his thoughts on life or not, we all know over his whole career he showed that he doesn't care about basketball like that. He isn't one of these guys like Steph who cares every day about lacing them up and getting out there and putting on a performance for the crowd. and care about his numbers and care about winning championships. He got the one where he gave his all against against Golden State with Cleveland, where he stepped up. He saw that he was, Curry was the guy. And he wanted to show people that I'm as good as Curry, and he is, but he's not as motivated. So that he made a mistake, man. He hitched his wagon to the wrong person because he was mad at Draymond for calling him a bi. He was mad about people in the locker room whispering behind his back that it was Steph's team and that he just joined on. But he could have played his position, man. If he would have just stayed humble instead of trying to be the guy in Golden State and try to tell the guys in the locker room that it was him and getting arrogant, he would still be over there winning championships. So everything KD's getting, he deserves because he made his own bed, man. He made his own bed, and they're gonna get smoked tonight. Remember, I told you that 2 points is I'm taking Portland
All right,
minus
yeah,
two.
you're getting me
Yeah,
fired up, and yeah,
yeah,
that's what Kyrie, right? We see those
yeah,
guys too, right? It's a job.
yeah, yeah,
Just like the security guard you see when you're going to go cash your tickets tonight, just like the
mm,
bartender, right? They're
yeah.
not waking up fired up. I'm going to be the best bartender
Exactly,
ever today.
exactly,
They're saying,
exactly.
time to go to work, pay the bills, and I'm going to go home and do it with these other things that I'm interested in. I
The
want to go.
worst thing. Hey, the
Go ahead.
worst thing could have happened was Kyrie winning that championship for his
Yeah.
future teammates. Because now
Mhm.
it's done. He's good. Because now he can always say when you try to talk noise to him, he
Yeah.
can talk about that and he can hold on to it. How many other people do? So
Yeah.
you can't you can't hitch on to people who aren't as dedicated as you.
Let me go back because I was on the Suns last night too. It's
Mm,
one of those games where my only regret is that I didn't bet more. I
right.
usually read the same amount no matter what, and I had a feeling when I'm placing the bet, like this is so easy. This line
So
should be
easy.
5. I had it at
Yeah.
6, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so the Warriors, and I didn't think this was going to be an issue, but this talking on Warriors Twitter, and I got to ask you, there's this idea that they're just not going to recover from that punch. And you have more like locker room experience and experience with how professional athletes think than I do. Is it true? Is this team just not going to be able to recover from that preseason punch?
Two things. They're not gonna recover from that punch because Draymond was always the bully of the locker room. It was Steph's locker room, but he
Mm-hmm.
was the one that controls the
He's the
radio.
bouncer. Yeah.
He's the bouncer. He controls the radio. Anything get out of line, but Steph lets him do whatever he wants to do. Steph was upset with him about doing that to Poole. And I don't know what else is going on, but I've seen some troubling body language between Steph and Draymond. They used to be buddy buddy. It doesn't look that way anymore. And I think a lot of that also has to do with Steph is pissed at how Draymond is all on LeBron's nuts. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
tired of it. Like this is my competition. This is who I'm trying to. We're gonna be looked at as the two best players in this generation. You over here, supposed to be my boy. We won all these championships together. We came up together, and you over here, snuggling up to LeBron every time you can. So he feels betrayed. The team feels betrayed by Draymond. Draymond's just doing a bunch of stuff, man. He's doing too much. We know
Yeah.
Poole runs his mouth. He's a big mouth and all that. He lost his composure and punched him. But it's deeper than that, man. It's way deeper than that. And another thing that people aren't realizing is that the Warriors caught lightning in a bottle. I keep telling everyone that. I keep telling Ski that. The Warriors were good last year, but they were not expected to win the championship last year. They had a great run and they caught lightning in a bottle. And this is a team that hadn't won in how many years? They were just the worst team in the league the year before.
Yeah.
So that's how they got Wiseman. So I don't think people are really being realistic with their goals for the Warriors. They thought the Warriors, just because they won last year, were going to come in this year and just run back through the league and win back to back. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of season left. We know these teams can turn on switches, especially the veterans. But Curry scored 50 last night. He was giving his all out there, and they still got blew out.
Yeah.
So, and this is the Suns without Cameron Johnson, one of their main components when they
Mm-hmm.
play the Warriors, without Chris Paul.
Right.
So what are they going to do? See, they've been lucky. They haven't had to play the Suns in the playoffs. If they play the Suns in the playoffs this year, they might get swept. They might get
All right.
swept. They just
Yeah.
have their number. You know how some teams just have your number, and the Suns, they have the Warriors' number. And also, like I said, I see decline in the Warriors that a lot of people don't want to recognize. Clay is not the same guy. He just
That's a
isn't.
huge issue.
He's not the same guy, man. And Wiseman is not the guy they thought he was going to be. And I can't wait. We're supposed to have Coach Richard Goodman on Monday. He was coming on tomorrow, but he has some business in LA, so we'll have him on Monday. And I can't wait because he's a Warriors inside. He knows everybody, man. All the people in the front office, everything. So we're going to talk to him about the Warriors and get some real insight, and I look forward to that.
All right, let's do that. Let's talk about my team, the Kings. They're hosting the Spurs tonight. I'll tell you what, I'm worried about a letdown, man. This felt like a playoff win.
Don't worry about it, man.
We out here celebrating, then lighting the beam. All my friends are texting me. The
Right.
city is just excited. Like, I'm like, we like 7-6.
Right.
So I haven't bet this game yet. I can't get the Spurs right either. That's another reason I haven't bet it. I cannot figure this team out. When I bet on them, they look terrible, and when I bet against them, they play well. That happens with young teams, right? They're developing talent, so you're going to have nights you look great, nights you look terrible. I haven't got involved, but you said don't worry about it. You think Kings are going to continue to roll? Talk to me about that game, and if you enjoyed that Tuesday night as much as I did. What a fun game!
In November has been a very bad month for the Spurs. The Spurs have won one game since the calendar turned. They've lost now. What is this? 8 out of 9 games. Whoever's the GM over there, I forgot. I think they got a younger guy now. I think he said I would pop it. They was like, "Hey, we win a little too much. What's going on here?" Because you know how they are, man. They really want Victor Wembanyama. That's their specialty. Going back from David Robinson to Tim Duncan is knowing how to tank and get their best opportunity. Because think about this: if they don't get the pick, who's most likely going to get the pick? Their rival.
Yeah. Okay.
Or the Rockets.
Or Houston. Yeah.
Right there and down the street from them, they got to play, up 10 times a year, every year, the next 10 years, and watch this kid come out there and slaughter them. And they're bright enough to look forward to the future and know we're not winning anything this year. So I don't expect a big effort from the Spurs. They play zero defense. Like you said, Mike Brown has brought a new attitude to Sacramento. I don't know if they cover. They should. But I know they're going to win the game. Sacramento will win.
Yeah. I think we win too. 7 points is right where it gets a little tricky for me. Let's go to college basketball. Big Ten versus Pac-12. Arizona State, the Sun Devils tonight, but they're catching 7.5 against Michigan. What do you think of this one?
I'm on Michigan. We're going to be on Michigan. Juwan Howard is a really, really, really good coach. He really recruits well, and he really makes that team play sound defense. They're always strong in the post. Arizona State is just light in the butt. There's like they've always been. They're a team that they like to shoot the ball. They don't really care too much for dirtying it up. Bobby Hurley is holding on to his job over there because he knows how to get guards who are electric. But I don't think they have a easy time scoring this game against Juwan Howard. And also, I'm sure that Juwan has some personal stuff going back with Bobby Hurley back when they were playing Duke. You remember that was their main rivalry. It was like, Duke against the Fab Four. And Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner were the stars, and he still doesn't like him because Juwan holds feuds like that. So I think he's going to look to run up the score on them. They won by 31 last night against a Pitt team that isn't that bad. I just think that they're going to be a little bit too much for Arizona State. I don't think Arizona State will be big enough to keep up with all of the big guys like Hunter Dickinson that Michigan has, who really does a great job. Juwan's son plays for Michigan too now, so I expect Michigan to get it done. I think this is a really short number. I think the number should have been about 9.5 because I think they win by double digits.
All right, sounds good. That's it for the present. Let's jump into the future. And you got a tasty one for us.
Yes.
And I can't wait to talk to you about this one because, well, you bring it up there. You let everyone know what it is, and then I'll tell you my concerns here.
I'm only taking it because of the value. The value is ridiculous. It's 8,000. It's plus 8,000 that Justin Jefferson wins the MVP. As we know, no receiver has ever won the MVP, even the great Jerry Rice. So with the way the receivers are coveted now, and with free agency, I really, really, really think that Justin Jefferson has a shot at this. They had some ridiculous names ahead of him, like Geno Smith, and it was crazy the names that they had listed above him. When really the only two people that I think that should be above, well, three maybe. I'd go with Mahomes, Allen, and Tua. Those are the only three that I think he should really worry about. The rest of those guys have not had the year that Justin Jefferson has. He's on pace to break the all-time receiving record, yards worth. And you remember that the year when Megatron broke that record, he was second in voting for the MVP for the league that year. It's due sooner or later a receiver is going to win the MVP. Why not Justin Jefferson this year? And why not at plus 8,000 when I could throw what $100 on there and make a $8,000? I mean, you can get the $100 back on a straight bet. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
good investment to
at those
me.
odds, it's hard to argue. I'm just
Yeah,
frustrated with this award because they should just call it Best Quarterback Award.
pretty
You give it to
much
the quarterback every single year.
every single year.
And you brought up Tua. The idea that Tua is more valuable to that team to Tyreek Hill is just laughable to me.
It's
It's just
laughable.
laughable.
Yeah,
Tyreek
it's
is the best
laughable.
player on that team by far, right? And so Josh Allen, obviously the rough performance this weekend, and read a quote today that he said the elbow's not 100%. He's dialing it back in practice. Wouldn't be surprised if we also saw that in the games for the next couple of weeks. Let's be honest, this Buffalo Bills, nothing they do in the regular season matters. It's going to come.
Nope.
They're like an NBA team right now. All that matters is the playoffs. And
Yep.
it's almost to the point where they have to win the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, this might end up being good for the team. You know what this team needs to do? They need to learn how to run the ball
Run
without
the
their quarterback,
ball.
but not
They
their
have
quarterback.
three
They need
running
to look at the
backs. So
running backs. Yes.
they have three good running backs.
This could be the best thing that happens to this team because rather than
Yeah.
just relying on Josh Allen to drop back 50 times and bail them out through his arm or through his legs, maybe you establish a little bit of balance on that offense.
And
So,
you know why they play like that? Sean McDermott came up under Ron Rivera with Cam Newton. And
yeah.
Cam Newton was to do everything, do all, be everything, and that's what he's doing with this
But
kid.
I'm
And
worried
it
they can
wore
shorten
him
his
out.
career. Yeah.
Look at Cam now. Look, Cam is nothing like the guy he used to be. He got out of the league a lot quicker
Age
than we thought he
32.
would
There's
have.
no reason. Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
should have been in the league till he was 35, 36, especially how he could throw the ball back then before
Yeah.
his shoulder injury. He should have
Yeah.
been in the pocket throwing the ball. He should have been feeding those great running backs that they had. And hopefully the Bills take that. But I'm going to just tell you the couple of the guys who are in front of him. They got Tom Brady in front of him. Joe Burrow. These guys haven't done anything this year. Lamar Jackson. Like Lamar had a decent season, but not an MVP season. Not
Lamar was good for like the first 4 weeks. So he's definitely regressed.
the only guy that I see sticking around out this group, because as you said, Allen's gonna come back down to earth. Voters might get tired of Mahomes because Mahomes has won it before, and I don't know how many they want to give him. I'm sure he's going to win another one. I don't know if it'll be this year though. And then you have Jalen Hurts is a good one that they might give it to
Yeah.
the kid, but he has a whole season left, and he's the quarterback. A lot of bad things can happen between now and then. Whereas in Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson,
When you give out
he's a
these 80 to
receiver.
1s, you can't argue, right?
Yeah, yeah,
$100, that's
yeah.
like the amount of juice we pay on a 2-and-2 day, right? So
Right,
it's fine.
exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
$100
God.
for 8,000. I'll try that. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. So we got it there, and we'll of course be monitoring this MVP situation as the season continues. But obviously, with Josh Allen's injury, he was the front runner, and it felt like the media was dying to give it to him.
yep,
They
yep.
love this guy.
Yeah, they love him. Yeah, they love him.
Yeah, we're gonna have a chance there. All right, let's jump into the ball and parlay, and we touched on it earlier, but you want to go back to SMU. They're plus 3.5 at Tulane. We haven't talked about it. I have no idea which way we're going. I got it pulled up on my book, but I don't know which side to click. Where am I going?
We're going with the SMU Mustangs, man. Plus 3.5. Some books I saw 4. I actually caught 4. SMU has dominated this matchup, man. SMU has won the last 9 out of 10 matchups between Tulane and them. Last year wasn't even close. They put up 55 on them. SMU is playing hot right now. And don't get me wrong, Tulane is a very good team. As you know, we took them last week against UCF. But what troubled me last week that I saw that they're going to have the same problem with against SMU is keeping up. Tulane has a good offense, but Michael Pratt isn't consistent. Air mails a lot of open receivers. Um, he holds the ball too long, takes some sacks. He's going to be going against Tanner Mordecai. Tanner Mordecai is going to move the ball, man. That's what he does. He's a great quarterback. He protects the ball. He threw for 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions against the Houston Cougars, man, in one game this season. He's been putting up crazy numbers. The offense is going to be able to keep up. I know their defense is really good, but you know how it is when you're dealing with these spread teams that play at such a pace like SMU is. You can only slow them down. You will not stop them. So I don't know if Tulane is going to be able to put up enough points to cover in this game. SMU is back in the race as well now since they lost last week, Tulane to UCF. Now SMU can actually still win the conference. So SMU is going to be fired up for this game. They've had a lot of past success, and it's a short week. Tulane had to be really heartbroken. It would be the small school that got in from the American Conference and actually play on New Year's Day if they would have won last week against UCF. And with them losing that, they still can, but I know it still affected those kids. When you run into your first loss, it's always something. So now you got to see how they bounce back, and then you got a short week, and then you got a team that you've had no success with over the last few years. So I'll definitely be on SMU plus 3.5. If you guys can find a 4, get it. I suggest if you can buy up to 4 and get minus 120, it's worth the juice. So take SMU plus 4 and buy the 0.5 point.
All right. For my pick, I think it's going to really illustrate the power of this show and how we're not only just on here giving information, we're learning. Before I logged on, I thought I was going to take Tennessee. But you made some good points. I'm fine staying off that one. And then I also liked what you said about the Blazers because I was already leaning that way. My numbers had it at 4.
Yeah.
No, I was just a little concerned about a Nets team that might really be trying to head home on a good note. They have to be feeling bad. They dropped a tough one to the Lakers, and then they got smoked on national TV. Not sure how they're going to respond to those comments. But, if I take Tennessee off the board, I only have 3. I could go back to that Ivy prop, but I'm fine here. You guys know that I like Jaden Ivey as well. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Blazers minus 2. Maybe I won't overthink this. Maybe I'm worried a little bit too much about the situation.
Yeah, you are.
It's a one-man team versus a well-constructed roster.
Yep.
I really like what these Blazers are doing. So we'll be on Portland Trailblazers minus 2. And then you had a bonus pick for the people, huh?
Yeah, we're going to give out Coppin State, man. Now, I got them at minus 3.5 last night. It's ran up to minus 4.5 now. They're at Tennessee Tech. Coppin State is a really good team. They just hung with Georgetown the whole game. They were able to score 89 points on Georgetown. Besides that, that was their only loss. They have a really sound program there. Tennessee Tech just isn't good at anything, and I think that they'll really be outmatched dealing with Coppin State. So take Coppin State minus 3.5 or minus 4.5, all the way up to minus 5. My cap on the number is about an 8. So take Coppin State minus 3.5 at Tennessee Tech tonight. So we got spread. We're both rolling with the Blazers tonight minus 2. SMU plus 3.5 tonight on the Thursday night, and then we also got Coppin State minus 4.5. We got a quick turnaround. We'll be right back with you guys tomorrow. Anything for the people before we get out of here, Spread?
No, just excited to talk some NFL with you tomorrow. I'm going to do the deep dive on. I've ran my numbers, but NFL you can't just cap by using a model. So I'm going to get some more information today, and then I can't wait to talk to you about these games tomorrow.
Yeah, I look forward to it. We got a big weekend coming up, man. Before you know it, the season's over with. We only got like 2 more weeks of college football before we get the bowl.
Almost done, huh?
Yeah, but it's time to eat. When we get to bowl season, you know how we do in the bowl. So we'll take that because we're going right from college football to college basketball, and that's been really good to us. NFL getting at the midpoint, man. Before you know it, all these sports over. So enjoy them while they're here, man. Make your money. Hey, guys, best of luck to y'all. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.